A small room. Just outside Baghdad, the darkness thick and heavy. Somewhere a dog barks in the distance, then silence again. A man quietly picks up his instrument, wraps it in cloth, and slips out into the night without looking back. His hands are shaking, not from the cold, but from fear. He knows if he stays until morning, he might never see morning again. But that day, something happened that changed not just his life, but the culture of an entire continent. This is the story of a Muslim whose name few people remember today, but whose influence still lives on every dinner table in Europe, in every bottle of perfume, in every fashion trend, in every restaurant menu. His name was Ziryab, Baghdad, 9th century. Back then, Baghdad was the brightest city in the world, a center of knowledge, art, science, and music. Scholars traveled thousands of miles just to sit in its libraries. And in this city lived a master named Ishaq al-Mawsili, considered the greatest musician in the caliph's court. Kings requested him. Poets wrote about him. His name alone opened every door. Ziryab was his student, a quiet boy with dark skin and a deeper voice, someone people underestimated at first glance. But there was something about Ziryab that set him apart from everyone else. His voice carried a pain that sank straight into the listener's heart. When his fingers touched the strings, time itself seemed to stop. People said that when Ziryab sang, even birds outside the window would fall silent, as if they too were listening. For months, Ziryab traveled. He crossed burning deserts where the sand seemed endless. He crossed rough seas where the waves threatened to swallow the small boat he traveled in. He endured hunger that gnawed at his stomach, exhaustion that made his legs give way, and a loneliness that pressed on his chest like a stone. Every night, under a sky full of unfamiliar stars, he asked himself, "Am I making the right choice? Will my talent end up buried in some desert, forgotten by everyone?" But one thing stayed alive in his heart: his passion, his skill, and a quiet, unshakable belief that Allah always has a purpose, even when the path looks like ruin. Finally, after a journey that tested every part of him, he arrived in Al-Andalus, modern-day Spain. This was the era when Muslim Spain, especially the city of Córdoba, was becoming one of the most advanced and enlightened cities in the world. Streets were lit at night when much of Europe was still in darkness. Its ruler, Abd al-Rahman II, deeply valued knowledge, poetry, and the arts. When Ziryab reached Córdoba, tired, dusty, unsure of his welcome, he was granted an audience. He picked up his instrument and with trembling hands began to sing before the emir. The emir sat in silence, listening. His advisors exchanged glances, waiting for his reaction. Then something happened that no one expected. The emir rose from his throne, walked toward Ziryab, and said, "From today, you are the most cherished person in this court." The same Ziryab who had fled Baghdad in fear of death, who had crossed deserts with nothing but a saz and a prayer, was now beginning a new chapter in Córdoba, a chapter that would echo far beyond his own lifetime. But the real story starts here. Ziryab wasn't just a singer. Inside him was hidden an entire cultural revolution waiting to unfold. He opened the first music school in Córdoba, where music was taught through a structured, almost scientific method unlike anything seen before. He added a fifth string to the oud, giving it a deeper, richer, more emotional sound that musicians still study today. But this was only the beginning. Ziryab changed the way people ate. Back then, everyone piled all their food together on one plate, eaten all at once, with no order. Ziryab introduced the idea of serving food in separate courses. First a soup or starter, then the main course, then dessert at the end. Today, the entire world eats this way, whether in a 5-star restaurant or a simple home kitchen. And this practice began with Ziryab over 1,000 years ago. He started the custom of drinking water and other beverages from crystal glasses, when most people still drank from heavy metal or clay vessels. He introduced the idea of dressing according to the season, lighter fabrics and colors for summer, heavier ones for winter. Something so ordinary today that we forget someone had to think of it first. He taught people that daily bathing, Wearing pleasant fragrances, trimming hair with care, and keeping teeth clean were not luxuries but necessities. It's said he even created an early form of toothpaste, a recipe that cleaned teeth and freshened breath, centuries before such things became common. All these things that the world today considers normal, completely unremarkable, unquestioned parts of daily life, their roots trace back to the skill, the exile, and the vision of one Muslim refugee. But this journey wasn't easy. Even in Córdoba's court, there were people who burned with envy, just as Ishaq had in Baghdad. Some scholars and rivals were unhappy with Ziryab's rising status, his closeness to the emir, his growing fame among the people. Whispers turned into conspiracies. Attempts were made, quietly and not so quietly, to diminish his reputation, to turn the emir against him. But Ziryab never abandoned his patience or his character. He believed that talent and good conduct were the true answer, not conflict, not revenge. He let his work speak again and again until the whispers lost their power. That patience was his greatest victory. Years later, when Ziryab's life came to an end, he left behind far more than music. He left behind a culture that would live on for centuries. His students, his sons and daughters, carried his work forward, refining it, teaching it to new generations. His influence wasn't limited to Córdoba. It gradually spread across all of Europe, carried through trade routes, travelers, and time itself. Fashion trends, ways of dining, principles of music, standards of personal hygiene, all of it traveled from Al-Andalus into the rest of Europe, quietly reshaping a continent that never even knew his name. Here was a Muslim who fled in the dark of night to save his life, and built a legacy that still touches the world today. What should we learn from this story? First, Allah can turn any hardship into a new door. For Ziryab, leaving Baghdad felt like a death sentence, the end of everything he had worked for. But Allah had already written a new destiny for him, one far greater than the one he lost. Second, never underestimate skill and knowledge. One person's talent, used the right way, with patience and humility, can change the way an entire world lives, eats, and creates. And third, when people grow jealous of your progress, when they try to silence you or push you out, don't give up. Don't let their bitterness define your path, because your fate is not in anyone else's hands. Today, when someone eats a meal in 3 separate courses, when someone wears fragrance in the morning before stepping out, when someone plays an oud or a guitar late into the night, somewhere hidden in that ordinary moment is the name of a Muslim refugee the world forgot to remember. But his story doesn't end here, because this cultural light that Ziryab lit in Al-Andalus was soon about to face a darkness that would shake all of Islamic Spain to its foundations. And the real story was only just about to begin.